Dan. It's great to see you again, and thanks for taking the time for coming and sharing your story with us. I wondered if you'd mind just sharing a little bit about yourself. So just tell us who you are and a bit about your lived experience.
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name's Dan. I'm a Senior Occupational Therapy Assistant at the Lincolnshire Recovery College. I'm also a carer lead for the college, and I'm also a full-time unpaid carer as well. I became an unpaid carer at about the age of 4 for my mum, who has severe and enduring mental illness. And I became a young carer, was a carer all through my childhood. I then became an adult carer for my wife later in my life, while continuing to care for my mum. And I also have a couple of children who are autistic and have been supporting them as well. So I spent a long time caring for them and then have moved into an employed role within the NHS as well.
Fantastic. So it sounds like a lot of lived experience and a lot of particular lived experience in a caring role as well in so many different guises. So hats off to you for doing that. And of course, we recognise the incredible importance of unpaid carers, which is getting more and more recognition for sustaining how the health and care system works as well as the difference that the role itself makes. So I remember from kind of previous conversations that you are a massive advocate for personalised care and support planning, but not just for the people that you care for, but also for you in your caring role. Do you mind just speaking a little bit to that experience?
Yeah, you're entirely correct, Colin. I indeed had my own care assessment, which is a personalised care and support plan, because I'd become overwhelmed by my caring role and had lost the ability to think of and see a way to get that back to a balanced role, because it was affecting my mental health and my physical health as well. So I spoke to my local authority, and they offered me a carers assessment. And it wasn't an assessment of my ability to care. It was an assessment of my needs as a carer. And one of those needs for me was to reduce my caring role. So I must have been caring somewhere between 50 and 100 hours a week. It was all consuming. And actually, I'd lost me in the process. And so having that care assessment gave me a way to refocus and rethink about what it was that I wanted, not just out of the caring role, but out of my life and family life as well. And it really gave me permission to say, actually, I'm overwhelmed and I can't do this long term. So I actually decided that it would be best for my own mental health to reduce my caring role to a manageable level, but also then to find something that was for me, which I had lost. So I had lost friends, I had lost family, I had lost my career because I took a carer's leave for 2 weeks and then ended up having a 10-year career break, just simply because the caring role became all encompassing. So actually, the carer's assessment for me gave me all those opportunities back. And the thing that it really gave me back was my life. So I was able to spend time with my family. I was missing watching my daughter grow up. I'd lost sort of minimal contact with friends. So it gave me all of that back while recognizing that fundamentally I am and always will be a carer, probably. And with some support and with things put in place, I can do that effectively without damaging my own physical and mental health.
Yeah, I mean, you've spoken to that so well, to be honest, there, Dan. It shows the incredible importance of actually looking after the person who's doing the looking after, really. Because, as you say, I think a lot of previous assessments might have been weighted simply for the person who was being cared for. But actually, the person doing the caring, it's incredibly important that we're able to support them as well and make sure that that is sustainable for them and for the person that they're caring for as well. And without you, the whole thing collapses, doesn't it? And the importance of making sure that you then don't develop multiple long-term conditions, which we know carers do, and also ongoing mental health problems, which we know that carers do, is absolutely critical. And it sounds like it's really helped to achieve some of those things as well.
Yeah, for me, it was completely life-changing. So I went from being isolated with no friends, completely overwhelmed by a role and what felt like a system that had passed me by and just left me to it, to actually being a productive member of society, having friends, having an employment role, and being able to use that lived experience that I'd gained over all of those years and use it in a positive way. So rather than trying to fight the system for something, I was able to turn that into co-producing and collaborating with the system for a better output for everybody. Not only does that benefit the system, but that benefited me personally and also professionally as well. I've then been able to gain employment on the back of that carers assessment as well. And generally, everybody that knows me has said they can see a massive change between the before and after. It really was that stark.
Yeah, it does sound like it makes such an impact to your life doing that. And you've just touched upon something that I think it'd be good to just dig into a bit more, because you said now that you've gained employment. And of course, thinking about the difference that not only the assessment itself made, but also the person doing the assessment and the importance of delivering personalized care. So delivering things in a really personalized way can make a huge difference, can't it? And of course, you now work in the system as a senior OT assistant, as you described before. So could you just tell us a bit about your role now and how you're able to give back and some of the personalized care that you deliver yourself now?
Sure. So one of the parts of the care assessment was actually because I had lost all my self-esteem and self-confidence because of the role. I started first volunteering, and I did that for a couple of years. And it also gave me the opportunity to feel comfortable with somebody else looking after the person that I was used to looking after. It can be really difficult as a carer to let go of that. But I did and got into a volunteer role. So that volunteer role was actually as a carer governor of my local NHS trust. So that was literally sharing my lived experience with my local trust and really collaborating with them to understand what it's like for carers and how they can support carers better. From there, I was able to secure employment, first of all, with a local charity. So that was, again, with a carers hat on, that was supporting the Employees for Carers project from Carers UK, but also a local quality standard called the Carers Quality Award that really made sure that businesses and PCN and sort of the local support and health system were thinking about carers. I then wonderfully received an opportunity to work for the Lincolnshire Recovery College. And the whole ethos of the Recovery College is to use self-management techniques and to be able to learn how to self-manage and use what's already within us, because we already know most of the stuff that we need, and just to give us the confidence really to use that, whether that be in a caring role or whether that be as a service user or patient, to really empower us to use that knowledge and to be the experts in our own care, which is really important to us, and really, use those strengths-based approaches to offer people that hope and control and opportunity for the future. So in my own role, I bring my own lived experience actually of what it's like to be on the other side of the fence, as it were. And really at the center of everything I do is actually, what does it feel like for that person? What do they need? Not what do I need, not what boxes should I be ticking, but actually what do they need? What will make their outcomes the best? How can they be supported to live the life that they want to live, not necessarily that I want them to live? And that all stems from my own lived experience of going through my own journey rather than going through an academic route, which is a bit more traditional, I suppose.
Yeah, you've spoke to that so well. I think that's a brilliant way to think about it for anybody working in the health and care system. Do you know what I mean? We all have jobs to do and we all have different things that we want to achieve, but actually a person's own outcomes is the most critical thing, isn't it, that we can help them to achieve at the end of that. And I think you've just spoke to that really well. So just as a final thing then, if you could provide one piece of advice to anybody working in the health and care system wanting to deliver personalized care, what would that be?
Ask questions and listen to the answer. Don't ask the question just because you've got to, because you're filling out a form. Ask the question because you're interested in the person and you want to know about them, and then listen to the answer and let them guide you. Don't you tell them, don't prescribe, listen to them, let them make the choices because they've got it inside them. All we need to do is help them get it out.
Perfect. Thanks, Dan. A wonderful message. Thanks so much for your time with that, and thanks for really sharing all about your own personal circumstances and story as well. Really appreciated.
Thank you.